Tonight, a 7 Eyewitness News exclusive. Former Buffalo police officer Cariel Horn in a battle tonight to get her pension. She was fired for trying to stop a fellow officer she says was abusing a suspect. And tonight she is telling her side of the story to 7 Eyewitness News reporter Kendra Eaglin.
November 1st, 2006, there was a call of an officer in trouble at 707 Walden.
That officer, Gregory Kwiatkowski, who was responding to a domestic dispute inside of that home between Neil Mack and his girlfriend. When Officer Cariel Horn went into the house, she says Mack had already been placed under arrest.
He was handcuffed in the front, and he was sideways and being punched in the face by Gregory Kwiatkowski.
Horn and about 10 other officers who arrived at the scene helped drag Mack out of the home, but once outside, Horn says Officer Kwiatkowski was out of control.
Gregory Kwiatkowski turned Neil Mack around and started choking him. So then I'm like, Greg, you're choking him, because I thought whatever happened in the house he was still upset about. So when he didn't stop choking him, then I just grabbed his arm from around Neil Mack's neck.
If that chokehold of a handcuffed suspect caught Horn off guard, it didn't prepare her for what she says Kwiatkowski did next.
He comes up and punches me in the face, and so I had to have my bridge replaced.
Horn says other officers pulled her back when she tried to defend herself. Following that incident, Horn was fired, charged with obstruction for jumping on Officer Kwiatkowski's back and or striking him with her hands. But Officer Kwiatkowski's own words seem to conflict with the charges. In sworn testimony, he says, she never got on top of me. Nonetheless, Horn lost every appeal, her 19-year career over, and she didn't qualify for a pension. The breadwinner for her 5 children, Horn, now a truck driver to make ends meet.
My daughter said, Mommy, why'd you go to work that day? She never said, why did you do what you did, or I wish you wouldn't have done it. She just said, I wish you wouldn't have gone to work that day. So I don't regret it.
Officer Kwiatkowski retired from the police force after he was suspended for choking another officer on the job, a separate incident of punching another officer when he was off the clock, and most recently, Kwiatkowski and 2 other officers were indicted on civil rights charges for holding down a black teenager and shooting him with a BB gun. As for Horn, the city has sent her case to the state retirement system for review. We contacted them for an update, but we haven't heard back yet.
Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is Talking Crazy 88, back again with another episode for you. I wanted to do this quick podcast tonight. I said I was going to do a podcast on it on my previous podcast, talking about this former Buffalo police officer by the name of Cariel Horn, who was fired from her job on November 1st, 2006, when she responded to a call of an officer in trouble. But you know the whole story in the beginning. Well, what I'm going to get into is that I'm going to go ahead and go into my commentary, because I attempted to record the podcast before a few minutes ago, about 20 minutes ago, and apparently the recorder wasn't on. Stupid me. Duh. But the reason why I wanted to do this podcast is because this sister spent 19 years on the force. She lost her job trying to stop some punk-ass cowardly cop by the name of Gregory Kwiatkowski, who was choking out a suspect on a domestic violence. He was already in handcuffs, but this guy was just so psychotic on the roids or whatever. He just hated black folks. He just hated policing the community that he swore an oath to do his job effectively, to serve the community that he's policing. But this woman lost her job. This woman has 5 kids. I'm going to repeat it. This woman had 5 kids when she lost her position as a police officer in Buffalo, New York, for trying to prevent this motherfucker from murdering a suspect that's already in handcuffs. This man was a psychopath. He gets to keep his job. This woman shown that she has some character, some morals in preventing this psycho from murdering a suspect. She gets fired. The good cop goes. The good cop gets kicked off the force. This good cop was brought up on charges for obstruction. The report that the board sent out was bogus, because even this punk coward said that, it was a lie, pretty much that there was a discrepancy. She lost her appeals. Now she's pleading with the New York State Retirement Board in Albany to get her pension back so she can support her family. This woman worked 19 years on the job, people. You don't go 19 years on the job. You don't survive 19 years on a job to have to lose everything that you work for on some bullshit. This was bullshit. She lost her job trying to protect this punk motherfucker from going up on murder charges for murdering a suspect. And shame on the Buffalo Police Department for turning your back on this woman. This woman, the woman that has shown some character, some morals. She stood up. She had enough guts to stand up against the blue line of silence. The blue wall of silence. You're either with us or against us. Apparently, she was in their eyes, she was against them, because she sided with the criminal. She sided with the criminal. He's not a criminal. I don't know if he's a criminal. She sided with the suspect. If she had stood there and allowed this psychopath to murder this suspect, she would still have her pension right now. She would have had her pension right now, but I don't know if she could have lived with herself. I know I couldn't. I just couldn't stand by and allow some coward to choke somebody out in handcuffs. And I would say it in his face, because this punk motherfucker is still on the job, and he's able to stay on the job and harass and put charges on black men. He's on federal charges for violating a couple of black men's civil rights. This is the guy that's able to maintain his position on the police force. That proves my point, where the unions protect bad police officers. They never protect good cops, as police officers such as Cariol Horn. They don't protect the police officers like Cariol Horn. Okay? Fighting for almost 10 years to get her pension. This was 8 years ago. She was fired 8 years ago, and she's still trying to get her pension. She has to drive a truck for a living in order to support her 5 children. Here's where I'm going with this podcast. You have a coward out in Oklahoma City, who was a police officer that was brought up on charges for sexually assaulting black women. Okay? The people, I don't know whether it's him or relative, set up an Indigo account where this coward raised about $250,000 for his defense. That coward down in Ferguson, Missouri, Darren Wilson, former officer Darren Wilson, he raised over $1 million to execute a black man. Execute a black man who he couldn't physically handle. See, that's a lot of white supremacist males out there who feel like the only way you can handle a black man is to shoot him. You can't take him down, shoot him. Why be on the job? Why become a police officer if you can't take a man down without using your weapon? You sound like a coward to me. And I'll say it in your face. You sound like a psychopathic coward. Anybody that wants to put their arms around my neck, you're gonna be a dead motherfucker if you release me. Okay? You're gonna be a dead motherfucker if I see you put your arms around any of my family members' neck. I don't give a fuck who you are. At that point, you become a coward. You become a coward with a badge and a gun. You're not a man anymore, you're a male. A borderline faggot. But why digress? Let me go back to my original point of this podcast. This sister, we need to do something for this sister who's struggling, driving a truck, raising five children. If they can create an Indigo account for these two cowards, why can't we just set up an Indigo account for this sister where she won't need the state retirement board? If we raise $1 million for this sister, she wouldn't even need the money from the state. Okay? She wouldn't need that penny ante retirement money. $1 million from I'll even start her off with a donation. Okay? I will make the first donation. If that sister sets up an Indigo account, I will make the first, and if it's legitimate, I will make the first donation. Okay? I will donate to her cause. I will, if I have to make a pledge to where I am continually donating a certain amount of money each month, I will do that. Because this sister needs our help. If you don't want to donate money, right, I'm going to put the address to the state retirement board where, hey, you can make a phone call, send your cards and letters, send an email demanding that the state approves her appeal, the rule in her favor on the appeal so she can get her money. Because this was bullshit. The way she was fired was, I can just tell from the 2-minute news clip that it was bullshit. It was bullshit the way that they let this woman go from her job. But where are all the police officers all over the world to support this woman? Where are the police union? Where's the union? Where's that punk ass coward Pat Lynch? You're too much of a coward, Pat Lynch. You won't even go ahead and take on this woman's cause to get her money back, to get her money from the state. You're a coward. You're a coward. You're a warmongering coward, belligerent coward who want your police officers to attack black men in this city. Okay? But let me tell you something. The war that you the war that you wage will cost you. Because you're sitting in a cushy office, people. You're sitting in a cushy desk job, punk. Well, listen, let me go ahead and get on out of here. This is Talking Crazy 88. And I am out of here, people.